behold the transparency of the Grail. Thy Christ, my Christ, universal, a chalice through which one may behold the stars and the central sun, far better than a crystal ball, is the Grail that is the receptacle of God's light, the eternal light. I am. Thou art, if thou wilt be, this eternal light. The beggar extends a begging bowl, and Christ, the cup of communion, initiation, oneness unto eternal life. Thus, if thou wouldst receive, if thou wouldst hold the light, now form the chalice, build from the foundation, raise up a stem of light, create the base strong, and let the chalice be. Now the power of light to focus in the etheric body and in the mind. Let its base and stem be the power of concentrated desire and the foundation of the pyramid of life. Blessed hearts, know then that the chalice of thy being can experience daily transformation. Think of Saint Germain. Think of the wonders of transmutation, removing the flaws of diamonds, and therefore increasing their value and returning them to their astonished owners. Now feel his heart as he yearned to find those who would take from the demonstration the message of the diamond heart, the diamond of the self, being offered unto the great Guru, unto the God, the Sanat Kumara Maitreya Jesus, unto the eternal Christ, the offering, the surrender, the trust. As I give my life to thee, O God, thou shalt return unto me my life, thy life, purified, now a worthy chalice. The proffered gift, the offering, the receptacle, this thou must begin. Thou must understand the resources, the raw materials in the heart of the earth, in thy body, in thy cells, in the divine spark, in free will, in the gift of the mind of God and the consciousness of Elohim. Elohim. Now understand. Draw from thyself as the microcosmic universe, even as you draw from Mother Earth every ingredient for the necessities of life. Fashion the chalice, test it. Test its ability to withstand pressure, heat, cold, tension, frequency, the sounding of the high note or the low. Understand my meaning and understand it well, for I am Hercules of the dawn. I stand before you, the most physical Elohim you will ever meet. For God has given to me this dispensation of lowering the light of all Elohim into physical matter, even as Archangel Michael, Prince of the Archangels, is given a certain assignment of the blue ray, and ever with the Chalice of the sacred fire. So I am the vessel, and I am a funnel that does transmit to you all of the powers and virtues of the complete complement of Elohim. I come therefore with a message of the Grail, for I am the Grail, and I am the transparent Grail, and through me you see the Godhead, and therefore understand the meaning of the word incarnate in the spirit universe. I am the vessel of God. I am spirit form. I am neither a wisp nor a whisper, but I am in form that is fashioned of the fire of spirit, and I offer my form, even the form of my mind, my body, my soul, my spirit, all that I am in all octaves as the Grail, and I raise my Grail, my true self, unto the Most High, and therefore the ritual is engaged of the giving and the expectancy of the infilling again. I speak of the Grail in a most practical manner, for I come having deliberated and also delivered to you this day through the messenger with Saint Germain and Kuan Yin, Moria and Lanello, certain important details of the path of overcoming. And we desire the strengthening of thy life stream, strengthening of light, the gathering of the light of the crystal cord until you feel the electrode of light from the base of the spine unto the crown, and you know what is the meaning of the stalk of the chalice, the stem that does receive and contain as star, fire, light, the essence of God. Understand the higher essence that travels through the central nervous system, throughout every nerve in the body. This is a pure kind of energy of light, an essence of consciousness, different from the essence that travels through the blood. And therefore you will come to understand how the systems of the glands, how the system of the nerves and of the blood itself provide a differing chalice for a different vibration, even as the skeleton itself becomes a vessel in the very center of the marrow of the bone, and in the bone quality and vibration of the sound of the universe and the universal sound of Elohim, therefore establishing within you not a single frequency, but many frequencies corresponding not only to the 7 rays and the secret rays, but ultimately the nuances of these rays. The very hairs of your head carry a certain vibration of light that enables you to tune into a different level of consciousness beyond. Thus, beloved ones, the knowledge of the body and every body part in the physical octave as a chalice for light and as a function in the total system, performing the necessary transmutation, distillation, processing of the food, the light, the air, the prana, all of this, when understood, shows the necessity of understanding how the body does function physically for the purposes of meditation, of increasing the capacity and the strength of the Grail. Observe then Observe, my beloved, the intricacies of the workmanship of crystal itself and handmade crystal, the design that is impressed within this substance, and begin to realize that each design in crystal is capable of holding another design, which design, as you know, reflects a certain sound of the word of Elohim, the word of creation, just as your physical crystal chalices do resonate to differing frequencies by their shape, by their design. So I tell you, you have millions of chalices in your four lower bodies, and those who exhibit an abundant grace, multifaceted mastery of the word, have been creating and sealing and perfecting and renewing those chalices for millions of years by chronological time. But it is infinity. And in the beginning was God, and in the beginning you were a cell in the mind of God, already a single chalice, one day to come forth as the objectification of the universal spirit in form and formlessness. Thus think not of thousands of years of physical embodiment, but think of eternity, past, present, and future, if we may indulge the word, of the development, the evolution, the spiritual gathering unto thyself of eternal life, and comprehend that every particle of your physical body, your etheric body, the mind and the desire body, is a result of the confirmation by you with Elohim of your creation, your recreation, and the preservation of an identity. The force of your love and the willpower to be, the desire for life and the love of integration with cosmos, point of identity, point of individuality. Do you see the sense of integral unity, this selfhood that you are, this divine consciousness passing through you, that is the divine one, that is Elohim, is the source of identity. And you are able to be that integrated self by your free will, becoming a part of the moving stream of universal consciousness. Thus comprehend identity in you because God moves through you, and because the part of you that says, I, is the willing soul that confirms that beingness. Thus by free will you move as across a giant ribbon, flowing and billowing through space and beyond. It is a stream of life, the mighty river of life. And there you are, one with it in eternal consciousness. Here you are experiencing, almost as it were, a molecule of it, a slice of it, a compartment passing through time and space that lights up on the screen of matter, and each time you look in the mirror you see the same image. The image God has projected on the screen of this band of matter that represents a portion of your God identity. Do you see? It appears to be limited because you do not see the past and the future, and all that you see as yourself seems temporary and conditioned by time and space. It is the photographic image of Elohim now focused on this matter band for the purpose of your God identification in this frequency and your God mastery of this frequency, necessitated by karma, by universal law, and the ultimate dharma of thy highest self, reaching in the octaves of the Buddha in nirvana. Scale thy being. Come apart for a moment. Explore the vast reaches of all that has been and is to be, and realize even this conception is inadequate, but only to give you a sense of eternal movement. For spherical being that has no end is truly the nature of thy life. Walk in it, my beloved, and you will already be strengthening the mind and heart and body for the victory. Let us see, therefore, the disciplining of the whole man. Let us see hearts determined to be vital, to be in good condition physically and mentally, to not have weaknesses of indulgence, of ecstasy or weepiness or dullness or the fogging of the mind by the pollutants of the body. These are not states of God mastery. I cannot use you as a chalice for Elohim when I find you in this condition, when I most need you for cosmic service. You may call to me, but I must pour myself into a vessel. Therefore, when you call, present to me a worthy vessel, and I will thank you for all eternity and beyond the stars. Trust me, beloved, I promise you the reinforcement of my vessel, if you will truly count it the privilege of all eternity to be the implementation of the will of Elohim on this dark star in the midst of this dark cycle. Sometimes, beloved, those who have the least amount of food, who are forced to fast by deprivation in some parts of the earth, are thereby so cleansed and so empty that we may actually project our ray through them more easily than we can through the Westerners surfeited in all of the fine things and foods of the material plane. But believe me, precious hearts, these individuals are also weak, many of them being suffering from malnutrition. And therefore, we can only deliver so much light, for then the light becomes overpowering and does not serve to benefit the life stream. Beloved ones of the eternal flame, I come for the protection of your life stream as you engage in the battle of the astral plane with psychics at every level and in every nation, psychotronics generated out of the centers of the KGB across the earth and in America. I come to you so that you will understand that there is a strategy and an anatomy for the dissecting of the planetary beast of world communism and of the Nephilim gods and the fallen ones and their spacecraft. Today we have set the beginning, a very important one, that which is solid, sound, sane, and grounded as a chalice worthy. The foundation to be built, therefore, the secure physical foundation includes the ranch, Glastonbury, your livelihood, the economic self-sufficiency of the community, the health of your body and mind, and a sane and sound outlook, especially in the face of adversity, calumny, etc. What else is new? Tell me then, for I would rather hear of the new man and woman of Aquarius than of the old tales of serpents with their sting in their tails. It is high time you should bind them in the name of Christ. They have no power. They are simply multiplied on the screen of the astral plane, projected there in the multiplication of a thought form, of a genetic code, of a twisted Atlantean mind that has thought up the creation of mechanization man. These thought forms and replicas over and over again can be dissolved by Elohim in the numberless numbers as well as in the one. For it is the matrix behind the snake that will cause the collapse of the snake family. Let us go after the anti-sun behind the anti-matter, and then we will see how the science of the spoken word is used by the light bearers to the greatest effectiveness. Those who understand great odds ought to study the sling of David. Those who would defeat large armies ought to reduce them to a single one, the archetype, without whose figure and pattern in matter all the rest should suddenly cease to appear on the screen of life. Therefore encircle the pattern and the seed and the serpent's tooth and the egg, beloved hearts of victory. Securing the physical base and the oneness of community is the cradle of the new age. Let none deter thee, for it is opposed because it is the ultimate trump card of the brotherhood. It is a great idea. It is an ideation of the mind of God. It has existed longer than its antithesis that would decry it. For from the beginning, the great mind of God perceived community as the means to manifest in a finite sense or in a span of matter the facets of the Godhead that no single part in a certain frequency could contain. And in the containing of virtues, the begetting of love. How else could love be fired up in a cosmos than self-identifications of the one receiving and giving that love, and therefore the multiplicity of patterns and ideations manifesting as sons and daughters of God provides the energy whereby a grand fire of love is perpetuated. And the mystical body of God, I tell you, is indeed a sun of love that is the omega polarity of the great central sun. Understand this mystery, beloved hearts. I am surprised that you have never even wondered where was the polarity and matter of the great central sun. Why, it can only be the Christed ones, one in heart, mind, and soul, one mighty threefold flame composed of all others. What else could hold the balance of the great central sun but community? Thus Buddha saw it, Jesus and Kuthumi, and great avatars whose names go beyond the very mists of time and recorded history. All have understood that in this octave and in many octaves of matter yet to be explored, some more rarefied and some more dense, there have been the coming together of many manifestations of God out of the same divine image for this purpose of love begetting love, and therefore the fire burning in hearts at this frequency would draw down more and more and more light of the central sun until spirit and matter should be one in the great consummation, and the cycle of the Manvantara and the ages of the great out-breath and in-breath should be concluded with a net gain of increase for the central sun, which once again in another epoch of cosmos would send forth evolutions. Send them forth as the sowing of the divine seed, the very germination producing heat, love, fire, life, self-transcendence, and the grand reunion. Thus there is a purpose. Life is not without purpose. Life is here and now, the opportunity to prove Elohim where you are, in your chalice, in your bodies, in your temples, in your children, in your institutions of learning and culture and life. The church is the bride of Christ. Simple teaching orthodox teaching. Now you see it. The church, being the body of God, generating love, is able to hold the balance of a fire of Christ in spirit that otherwise could not be contained by a single individual. Thus, the establishment of church, beloved ones, is primary and central to all life, to every nation, and it must not allow the Berlin Wall or the Great Wall of China or the wall of hatred to be builded around it, for it feeds life into the community. It is the source of life to all, its central altar being the place so consecrated to the descent of living fire. And certain of you shall not taste of death until you have seen with your inner eye the flame of the Ark of the Covenant burning upon the altar of the Holy Grail, that you may know that it is the return of Israel. And therefore the word of God to Moses is a continuous stream through the same mantle of prophecy descending and through the same fire. Why was the fire withdrawn? Because the priests, the rabbis, the ministers did not offer an acceptable grail. It was not a question of discrimination, nor do we have particular interest in being iconoclasts to tear down and destroy beliefs and belief systems, but rather we would divest people of a false doctrine because it is a deterrent to the presentation of the Grail. We would rather have a beggar who understands the principle of the descent of the Word and the avatar, the simple devotion of the Hindu before the principle and the figure of the principle of the Godhead, than these whited sepulchres full of dead men's bones, that we might simply pour a morsel of devotion through that soul and hold the balance for a nation. How could India have survived all these centuries? The wide open society vulnerable to the Soviets. But the individual persons of God understand the meaning of the word made flesh in the principles of the deities and in themselves, and they count it not robbery or desecration. Therefore the flame is gone out, for they have not witnessed unto the truth in the West, and therefore they have very little defense, if any, against the encroachments upon their children. How does a parent explain child molesting? How does a society explain it? Are there not angels to take care of children? Well, indeed there are. But the parents must have the open door to sanction those angels, to keep a vigil and prayer and oneness in the continuity of the word that has been given and the recitation of the word, whether it be the recitation of the Psalms or the Lord's Prayer or the Eastern mantras or the Hail Mary. There must be reverence for the word spoken in every household, taught and practiced, and at the altars of the living God. And there must be something inside of a fire that when the word is spoken, it is not hollow and empty and vacant. Thus the churches have been emptied in some parts of the world, for no central fire has burned on the altar, neither in the leader nor placed there by cherubim as a witness unto all, that the sound of the word and the devotion of the communicants has been rewarded by God, and the remnant has gathered, and the ensign of the people has been raised up, and at inner levels they know that the fire burns brightly, though the intellectuals and the skeptics and the cynics and the atheists, God bless them all, deny it. He will wrap them in his ruby fire, let them be blessed, for God knows how to bless every type of evolution for the good of the light bearer and for the good of the one who may yet glimpse heaven and confess his idolatry. I have come, beloved hearts, because I desire to see the full implementation of the dispensation in the physical octave, of the holding of the balance against this dark cycle in Aries, polarizing and also evoking the response on the line of Libra, as that polarity of human and devil creation is an antithesis of the polarity of Alpha and Omega in the very heart of community. In order for your causal bodies to hold a balance, you must be able to contain more and more light of those causal bodies. Thus, the strengthening of the physical chalice, the emotional chalice, the chalice of the mind and the etheric body. This we seek and we desire diligence. Physical purification begets mental clarity. Physical observances of non-indulgence in harmful foods, drugs, intoxicants, does beget emotional soundness, stability, and a sense of honor and integrity. Thus be free of vice, be free of gluttony, be free of temptation. This week I assign you to gather in this sanctuary and defeat planetary forces of psychicism, psychotronics, mind manipulation, control of the populations from those spacecraft by the Nephilim gods, which they have projected for time and eternity. This week I assign you to self-awareness and a new level of the Buddha's consciousness, and I will return to find you at a new level of the Grail, that we may carry on then and see how you deal with the next level of the challenge of world communism, as well as those picayune forces that will throw their garbage against the church or the woman or the child or the chela as a distraction, as an attempt to derange or derail the body of God. Therefore, let us be rid of these. Let them be bound. Elohim, in the full Grail of 7, come forth now. Set the pattern and the life. Set now the force field of earth, and those areas where light bearers would build and have encamped. Seal, therefore, the earth. Seal the astral plane, the mental body, and the etheric octave. Seal it in the heart of the inner retreat and Glastonbury, and at the farthest reaches of the Royal Teton Ranch. Seal Camelot, and every home where the devotees have erected the altar of the I Am Presence, Saint Germain and Jesus, and a crystal chalice as a symbol of the Grail in the making in the individual devotee. Elohim of God, hold the balance in those areas, and therefore hold the strong matrix. Filigree, lines of force. Elohim, establish now that God protection of the first ray, the power of Elohim, archangel and Choan thereof, of the God star in the mighty I Am Presence of each one. I am Hercules. I offer my body this day as a chalice on behalf of the chelas who are becoming my body in action, the chelas who are striving to perfect that Grail chalice. Now I offer myself to hold the light of protection and the blue fire until they are able, until the crystal shines in every atom and cell of their manifestation in matter. Angels of rejuvenation, angels of the resurrection, angels of the Christ self, angels of the newborn, recreate now throughout this movement the new birth, truly the creature born again with a cosmic understanding of co-creativity with Elohim. Thus, I am that I am, Hercules and Amazonia, Alpha and Omega, now established and now establishing this spiral and pillar on this force field more physically, for you have called it forth, twin flames and pillars of Hercules and Amazonia. We intensify as electrodes of the great central sun magnet to magnetize light and light bearers, to expel and consume darkness and dark bearers of darkness. Thus it shall be, the seed of the wicked expelled, for they can no longer hear me, for I speak at the level of the word, and those who have it not, depart, depart, depart this park, and allow the Buddha to be ensconced here, for this is his house. And I am the adornment in the house of the Buddha, and we bow before the Lord of the world. Blessed hearts, rejoice. Truly this is the joy of God, the joy of the first ray, the joy of the saint who declares, I am that I am. It is the 3 o'clock line of the saint who walks the earth with laughter, laughing in the very teeth of the nonsense. And all of the hullabaloo of the fallen ones that fades as a mist in the night, carries no weight, has no vessel, shatter, shatter, shatter the anti-grail of the sinister force. Shatter it on the planetary scale. Shatter it now. I am Hercules. Bind the anti-grail and the anti-chalice. You have no power. I am here. I am there. I am everywhere in time and space in the heart of my chelas. And I declare no foul thing shall pit itself against the purity of the soul of the mother and the child, the father and the son, the chela and the guru, the master and the disciple. I draw the mighty solar ring. I, Hercules, with joy stand upon the altar, and I draw the mighty solar ring, and I am reinforcing now the beauty of the word that is planted in your heart by the mother, watered by angels and elementals, and does increase by the innate God potential of life itself. Rejoice that the mother of the universe is a gardener, tending now the seed and the shoot, protecting it from those stifling weeds, perceiving the matrix, rejoicing in the unfoldment of the flower. O Kuan Yin, Mary, Amazonia, beloved of my heart, Omega, O wonder of cosmos, O feminine being of God, mother of all life, seal now my children, seal them in the heart of victory. Universal Mother, seal them beneath their feet, seal them from the astral plane, seal them from the night. Let them walk in spheres of light, having a sense of the omniscience of God, a sense of it like the morning dew gives a sense of the crystal fire of the sun in its reflection, the sense of the omniscience of God, peripheral awareness, spherical being, a sense of all-knowing, a sense of proportion, co-measurement. O Universal Mother, let them see the unreality of all that does vibrate beneath the level of the heart. Let them not stoop, but rise, and raise all life with them as the divine plant grows, as the stem is created of that goblet of fire. Angels of the elixir, angels of the elixir, come. Give to each one now the cup to drink. For they are faithful, they are holy, and they have come to the royal Teton retreat. Let them drink now the cup. Beloved hearts, if you will drink, stretch forth thy right hand. Take from the angels of the elixir. Draw now and drink the full cup of that golden liquid light. Your willingness and receptivity in itself is an initiation past. For the messenger has called, and we have answered, and we have attempted to extend that cup to the outcast ones, the rebels. They have refused our cup at inner levels. They would not drink lest they be changed, lest their minds no longer be their own, and they could no longer operate as they should choose. They feared loss of identity. Thus, they denied the angel, ourselves, and the goblet. They did not drink, for they were entrenched. They were polarized against light, but they have no power. See to it you give them none, and let your silence be the entering in to the higher octave of the Holy of Holies of your I Am presence, where God abides and you are refreshed. Not extra sensory perception, but extra Christ perception is the need of the hour. ECP, not ESP. Let your joy be in the understanding that there are no coincidences in life, but from the beginning, your own divine name, the electronic pattern thereof, is for the release of light, even to the physical octave. Extra Christ perception will deliver you from those who think they will conquer you by extrasensory perception. Why, sensory perception can never be the vessel of the highest senses of the spirit. Thus, the Christ consciousness swallows up all the serpents, just as the serpent at Pharaoh's court that came out of the rod of Moses and Aaron swallowed up all the serpents of the false priests, the black priests who have plenty of momentum in black magic. They become too self-assured, beloved ones. They have plied their wares. They have done their black magic for so long. They are so used to having it work against the unwary that when the Christ comes along with the power of God, they are in fact not even ready for the event. Let thy Kundalini fire swallow up those who misuse it by their lust and by their false mantras. Beloved hearts, not a single name of the fallen angel pronounced as black magic, not a single formula of the highest order of Satanism has any power before the word manifest in you when you exercise it. If you do not exercise the word, you are vulnerable. See to it, I have warned you. You dare not be off guard in this octave. You dare not lose your temper, or you and your family may lose your life in embodiment. Read the story of the good Christian mother and her 3 children driving in a car, hitting a train oncoming at high speed, throwing the car a great distance, utter and total destruction and instant death, and the Father standing by and all weeping in this church and community at the loss of these devoted Christians. Why is it so? Because they had light and refused to exercise the word, not simply the good Christian family or the repetition of the outworn doctrine of Christians and of the Roman Church that has refused to bring the true teachings, but in fact, the new order of the ages, the everlasting gospel, and the message that you receive. Beloved hearts, we do not desire to see this happen, yet we cannot support a Christianity, a doctrine of orthodoxy that has led to the perpetual reincarnation of souls who thought they were going to heaven and could not and did not. You see, the law acts, and there must be the intercessor in physical embodiment. How could a Christian folk deny Archangel Michael? How could they accept a Protestant revolt casting out Mary and Michael, who would surely be their defense? Yet they have done it, they have accepted it. And our angels have appeared to them day after day, century after century, and between embodiments, and they still follow the false pastors, some by a willful neglect, and others because they need you, the true shepherds, to wrest them from this entrapment. Beloved hearts, have you heard these false pastors, popular with the people, who tell you with all certainty that their family members and friends who have died are now in heaven with Jesus, and that they are absolutely certain that they are going there too? And then they ask all to raise their hands who are also certain that they, when they die, will be with Jesus because they have confessed him and they have not had any backsliding. Can you imagine the audacity of a clergy that pronounces absolutely by cosmic law that so and so and so and so and so and so are in heaven, and so and so and so and so, including themselves, are going to heaven? How do they know? How do they know? It is almost as if by the very repetition thereof they would force Almighty God and his Son to implement their will. Well, it is not so by their saying. Ironically enough, though these Christians may proclaim that their loved ones are in heaven, when the messenger proclaims that her husband is in heaven, she is ridiculed. Explain that, if you will. You see, beloved hearts, there is really no reason based on the word in the human mind. There is no reason in fear or hatred or condemnation or the anti-light pitted against the light. Thus, I tell you, those who would escape from unreality must become a maypole, firm and rising, a power of an electrode, the power of that Kundalini fire, adorned by the spiraling threefold flame, allowing you to pass from the base to the crown and into the Christ self and the I am presence, to transcend the octaves of vulnerability. You dare not dwell at levels of the astral, at lower levels of vibration. You know you will not survive. You cannot find heaven in the midst of hell except in the fire of your heart, but not in the lower chakras, where the untransmuted astral energies and the dweller on the threshold will surely attempt to devour you. You must rise. You must be a pillar of fire. You must be giving off the fire that consumes all unlike itself, else you will take in every type of poison, toxin, disease, and death. Every ailment and physical problem you have is the testing of your life stream. It is a reminder that you are vulnerable, and you best find out what is your point of vulnerability and master it. The small tests come first, and then the larger ones. Thus, work while ye have the light. Master the bodies, and know that you will require the full measure of allotment of your lifespan and more to have the victory of self and planet Earth. Now, beloved hearts, I do tell you, in the victory of the God flame, that Elohim, as the morning stars, which sang together for joy. Sing for joy this day. Sing in all octaves of the matter cosmos. Sing across the spirit waves. Sing in the joy of the Lord. Can you?